Karen, thank you so much for joining me again today. It's a privilege to have you here and just to delve a bit deeper into the other forms of human trafficking, specifically the sexual exploitation and online sexual exploitation. Last time we covered many other forms of human trafficking, so it's going to be good to get a bit more knowledge into this area, which is really expanding by the day. So welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much.
So if we look at sexual exploitation, that by itself can be broken down into about 4 areas or 4 segments, which is prostitution, baby farms, child brides, and child pornography. If we start off by just going a bit deeper into prostitution, take us a bit deeper with regards to sexual exploitation and human trafficking.
Well, like you said, there's 4, well, it can be more, but the ones that we can list under sexual exploitation, because there's such a huge demand for sex and people who want to practice sex with whoever, there's such a big supply that needs to be given. So actually pornography and prostitution goes very hand in hand, and people don't really necessarily believe or understand that, because people who watch pornography get to a point where they want to physically act out what they've seen on the pornography sites, they will then go and find a prostitute. So these two are actually feeding each other, because on the other hand, a lot of prostitutes are being abused, and then that is being recorded for pornography. So these two goes hand in hand as well. But prostitution is not a new thing. I just think because the demand is so much bigger, a lot of young ladies and men and children are being trafficked specifically to become prostitutes or sex objects, whether it's on the street or at some kind of lodge or islands. A lot of these people are going to islands to serve people visiting the islands or the holiday resorts or so forth. So prostitution also has a lot of different faces, but 99% of the time these victims are actually victims that's been trafficked into the the prostitution industry.
And also, when you mentioned now the child pornography or the people who watch the pornography that they want to act it out, what is scary is that where pornography, say 20 years ago, was normal in the sense of, between a man and a woman, it's become so vulgar in what is being acted out, and that there's rape involved, there's incest involved, it's sex with children, abuse with people and children. It's become so violent, and then like you said, they want to act it out, and either with a prostitute who then gets the raw end of the deal because they then violently get assaulted and abused, or the poor child as well is cornered because what was relevant 20 years ago is not relevant or doesn't give the same effect and stimulation and high nowadays. So people want to act out their sexual preferences on children physically.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not only about child pornography, which is a very big thing, because a lot of this abuse then physically is being recorded and then sold on your porn sites. But the children also become victims because of someone else watching porn as well. So this, like I said, it goes hand in hand. And unfortunately, South Africa has of the highest statistics of child pornography worldwide.
Sure.
I think the access is just so much easier, and it's hidden away from the authorities. So a lot of people actually come from other countries to record the child pornography in South Africa.
Oh.
I know about a child from a primary school in a very well-known rich area in Pretoria East, where this teacher said they found out that the 3-year-old boy was being used as a porn star by his
3-year-old.
3-year-old by his own parents. because they got money from it. So,
But they were rich.
no, they live in a rich area, or it
But I
happened
mean-
within a rich area. So,
Oh, so it wasn't that they were rich necessarily?
no, not necessarily.
Oh,
He
okay.
was in a school that is in a very rich area. But this child was used as a porn star. And
At 3 years
at
old?
3 years old, had to be removed from the house because of the porn that's been recorded at home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you think it might that's the point, might only happen down there where there's not a lot of like rich people or whatever, but it happens anywhere. Especially behind the big walls in the big houses where you think everything is kosher.
Yes, you can't necessarily think that because you're in a rich area that you are safe. It doesn't discriminate between culture or poverty or being rich. Where
Yeah.
there's a demand, there will be supply.
Exactly.
With the prostitution as well, you see a lot of kids these days who have this obscure belief system that it is cool or that they can make a lot of money from being a porn star.
Yes.
Or getting money from having sex with people. So from primary school, kids, they have been so desensitized, I think, from what they also see online, that there's no value or secrecy around sex anymore. I heard a story the other day where kids are just having sex for 5 rand. They offer each other 5 rand and they have sex at school. So where is this going to end if we don't do something about it? If we look at prostitution as well, I've met a couple of prostitutes when I go to outreaches, and the sad part is it's not glamorous and they don't want to be there. They are so ashamed and filled with shame that their loved ones don't necessarily know what's happening because they just have to pay the bills and put food on the table. But they are traumatized by the abuse that they have to put up with the different clients that they have to see to every day.
Yeah.
And most of them are addicted to drugs and they are hopeless. They are filled with hopelessness and despair because they don't want to be addicted to drugs. They want to be set free. They don't want to be in that industry, but because of unemployment, they were cornered and they didn't feel that they have another choice but to do that. So it's also important that we don't look down upon or judge the victims that are in prostitution because they are not there willingly. It's not that they enjoy what they are doing. That we should also have grace and pray for them so that they will be set free. And then I think we don't even know how many children are used as prostitutes. The demand for kids in prostitution is just so high.
Yeah.
It's scary. So if we then look at baby farms, can you tell us more about baby farms and how that works?
Baby farms is, we know about one in Nigeria, but there are other places as well where these young ladies that are being trafficked are taken to and impregnated by whoever, actually being raped until they're pregnant. And because of such a huge demand for adoption, these babies then are being sold in the illegal adoption market. So these young girls are being impregnated and then these babies are sold in the illegal market. Because it's such a high cost and big process to adopt children legally, there's such a big demand for babies, for illegal adoption. So yeah, the people actually will pay, I don't know how much money, and then they will adopt a baby from Africa. It actually has become such a fashion statement, if I can say it like that, where a lot of upper class people, richer people, will adopt children from Africa to show that they are actually making a difference. But if you go behind it and look behind it, then you'll see, but these children are all sold or bought on the illegal adoption market. So yeah, it's under the facade of I'm helping this poor African child. Meanwhile, it actually...
You're enriching the trafficker.
Yeah, actually, you are feeding this whole issue.
I know there's specific baby farms in Nigeria, but I also heard that, there's baby farms that has opened in Thailand as well, in other parts of the world. So I think it is increasing.
Yeah, I won't be surprised. Remember, it's not necessarily only for illegal adoption, it might be for organs as well. Because a lot of babies maybe need a new heart, and then they will use these babies as organ donors.
Oh my goodness. And also, obviously, they don't have paperwork, they're not in the system, so it's easy to just use and abuse them. Child brides. If we look at child brides, can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, child brides is a very old custom, a religious practice. Muhammad was married to a 9-year-old girl, so it is a very religious thing, but it also became very cultural in different other countries in the world. Not only connection with the Islam religion. A lot of African cultures believe that as soon as the girl is matured and she's now a woman, she can get married and bear children.
What is matured? What is the age for that?
It depends when she starts her period. That's when she is now.
And these days, I mean, girls start getting their period from 8, 9, 10.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's when she can have children. That's when she's old enough to get married. So these young girls are being married to an older man that can sometimes be as old as their grandfather. And he then can use and abuse her just the way he wants to. She has to do everything in the house. She literally becomes a wife as a child and bear children as a child. And they don't have any freedom at all. And this is still very, very common in even just South Africa. We have the Ukutwala, which is a cultural practice still happening within South Africa. So she has been abducted, raped, and then the abuser or the husband, whoever wants this girl, will then tell the family, but he will take her in. And because it's such a big shame for the child to be raped, they will then sell the child to this man, and she becomes a child bride. So that's something that still happens in South Africa quite a lot. But apart from South Africa, very seldom we see that in a lot of other African cultures as well, where it's just so normal for a child to get married by a chosen husband. She will be born knowing that she will get married to that specific man within the village or community.
And that's in Africa.
That's in Africa, but it's also worldwide.
I know in Thailand as well.
Exactly.
If you look at the movie Nefarious, that documentary where the girls are programmed from a young age to believe that their sole purpose is to basically become a prostitute so that they can provide for their parents.
Yeah, so the child bride thing is just, like I said, it's not an old thing, but these girls try to run away. If they run away, then the authorities will take them back, or their families will take them back to their husbands. And they undergo a lot of suffering, a lot of abuse as well. But strangely enough, it's not only girls. There's also child grooms that is happening more often, where this where this young boy have to take care of an older woman and her children and literally be the husband to provide for the family. So he's not able to be a man of the house, but he has the responsibilities of taking care of this household, his wife and then her children.
And have you ever heard about a child bride case in South Africa?
Yes, we've had a case where the family or the mother owed money to a specific man, and when she couldn't repay him, he said he would like the girl then as payment, her daughter, she was about 11 by that stage. So when the mother couldn't repay the man, she had to give her daughter. So her daughter was then transported from Mozambique to South Africa and was then the one, she paid the debt that her mother owed this man. So yeah, luckily we could see the case and we followed up. But she was 12 years old, married to this nearly 50-year-old man who was already abusive towards her, and he broke her virginity and he just used her, and she, according to custom, believed, but that was her responsibility to be now the wife to this man because her mother couldn't pay.
And she would be indebted to him for life.
Yeah, she's married to him to life.
And luckily, you knew what symptoms to look out for. So did you spot it immediately, or what tipped you off?
Well, definitely the Holy Spirit and God opening my eyes. But the big thing was I just saw this very, very young girl looking like a housewife, not being in school, 10 o'clock in the morning, and started asking questions because she was doing the washing. And normally those girls in that specific compound actually go to school.
And was the husband at home as well?
He wasn't at that stage, but we did see him later on. So
luckily you had a gap to speak to her.
Yeah, well, we had to go back off a few times to get the whole story, but then eventually the neighbors spoke out and some other community members about the real situation, because she was too scared to tell the truth, of course.
Oh, shame. And then you obviously found the hotline number.
Yes, we did, and they followed it up. They sent out their team to do investigation, and they found that it was a trafficking case and she was rescued.
How long was that period from the moment that you suspected it from her being rescued?
10 days to 2 weeks.
That's incredible. Because had it taken longer, the husband might have gotten suspicious.
Yeah, or she would have been taken away to another place.
Yes.
So that was the danger that luckily our community members, the ones we work with, could keep an eye on her to see that no one transports her away.
That's really amazing. And once again, it shows you how efficient the 821 hotline number is in South Africa, and that we should rather be alert and report any suspicious behavior just to make sure. If it turns out to be nothing, then it's fine, but not to look the other way.
I would say rather report it and let them find out whether it's a case or not, then not report it.
Yes.
At the end of the day, or that might be a lead to another case, or a big syndicate of trafficking, or so on. So rather report and give it over to them than even to try and handle it yourself. Never, ever, ever try to handle a case by yourself.
Yes, it's just too dangerous for this syndicate. You can think for yourself. If it's a $236 billion industry per year, these people have got people set up in every sector of the industry, and you won't be able to stand alone against them. So I think that's a good idea. So also, if we just think about what the specific things are to look out for in somebody that might have been trafficked, to spot a victim. I know that in some cases there would be branding on them, like a barcode on their neck or their arm, or a crown to say that they belong to the pimp. So it's small things that we just need to ask God to open our eyes to spot a victim of trafficking. Something that really opened my eyes as well was that I never knew that even if you go to these massage parlors or these beauty parlors, or sometimes the nail bars as well, where the nail salons, I just thought, it's always above board. But when I started looking on the 821 website at the different materials, you start becoming more alert, because then they would show that if the lady that is doing the nails or the hair or working in the beauty salon and she's fearful, it's something to be alert of.
Yes.
If there's a service that was done, the client gives the lady that did the job the money, but the money immediately gets handed over to another person standing 2 or 3 feet away, it's also something to be suspicious of, because that lady then doesn't have any control over the money that she makes. If they are fearful, what are some of the other things to look out for?
Yeah, if they can't speak the language, if they can't speak English. I've come across a case where it was a masseuse who couldn't speak the language, and she was obviously from Taiwan. Where they can't speak the language, you can see even in the room there's a microphone. So whatever they say, either being recorded or someone is listening in. So, and these ladies, like you said, are fearful. They just want to do the massage or whatever and leave you. Don't talk too much or don't discuss too much. So, that happens very, very often, specifically Asian women being trafficked into South Africa for these
massage
purposes.
parlors and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
And once again, we should start praying more to be led by the Holy Spirit, to be more alert, more aware,
Yeah.
educate ourselves against the signs of human trafficking, and then rather, like we said, report it. Even if you report 10 cases in a month, just do your part. Other people will do the rest. I think we can now move over to online sexual exploitation. If we look back at what I know, even in myself, what I believed human trafficking looked like, I always thought that human trafficking is where a child specifically or a person gets abducted physically from a specific place and get taken to another place, shipped in a container to another country, and there they are sold off. If you just think about the movie as well, The Sound of Freedom, which is a very good movie to watch to just give you an indication of what human trafficking is about. But what opened my eyes was the growing concern of online sexual exploitation and grooming, and how it just changed my perception of how this has escalated, where a perpetrator would have targeted one child or one individual at a time, start with a grooming process in order to traffic them. Maybe he would sell them off, abduct them, sell them, or use them for pornography and sell that off, one person at a time, one victim at a time. Nowadays, they send out friend requests online to thousands of people or children across the world. And it's not only on social media where it happens, like Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. It's also on gaming websites. So if you play these online games like Roblox or Minecraft or any type of game where there's a function for you to communicate with other players online, your child can be trafficked.
Yes.
So your child can be trafficked from the safety of his or her own house while you are at home as a parent, cooking or cleaning, thinking they are in their room, safe, just playing games on their phone or on social media or doing their homework. They could actually have been trafficked. How many times in one day? And I think we don't know enough about this to really address the issue. To explain a bit more about that, these online predators, they search for keywords to look out for vulnerable children. They search for pictures of kids that post very sexually alluring pictures of themselves. They look for emotional posts like the child says, my boyfriend just broke up with me, or my parents don't love me, something like that, to give the tip off that they are vulnerable. And then they send out these friend requests, and whoever accepts these friend requests, they then start with a grooming process. So how long does the grooming process take?
Well, it depends. I think the easier the target, the less
time it takes, the quicker it happens.
Yes, but it can take up to 6 months to a year. Because the trafficking, there's so many people involved in trafficking, they are not in a rush. If you look at the Loverboy method online, they are not in a rush. They will really take time to build relationship with their victim over a period of 6, 7, 8 months even.
What is just explain a bit more about the Loverboy method.
The Loverboy method is where the guy will get to know her so well that she falls in love with her. He will actually build relationship with this girl to the stage where she will fall in love with this person on the other side, or the man. And he will shower her with compliments, even send her gifts, talking to her often and make her feel very special. And she will then fall in love with this guy. She will trust him, and he might eventually say, okay, but let's meet somewhere. And once they meet, she can be physically kidnapped, or he will start demanding all kinds of pictures and videos online, which you're going to talk about now, and then use those material for pornography.
And the exploitation.
Yes. So it's literally pretending to be someone you're not, so that the other person can fall in love with you and then exploit the person afterwards.
And something that children should look out for as well is that if you are talking to somebody that is excessive in the way that they compliment you, that is much more than what you usually experience in your life, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Because it can't be sincere if it is done in such a high and unnatural, excessive way.
Yeah.
So now these perpetrators or the traffickers, they send out these friend requests, social media, on the gaming platforms, and your child might think that they are talking to another child of maybe of the opposite sex, or another teenager close to their own age of the opposite sex, and they are having conversation and they're getting to know each other, when in actual fact it might be a man in his mid-40s to 50s using a fake profile picture to lure the child in. The child thinks they're starting a relationship with somebody, and then in actual fact they are being groomed by this middle-aged man. Another incident is where the groomer or the trafficker will then ask the child a lot of questions to get as much information from the child as quickly as possible. Why? To build a profile about the child, a CV about the child, so that they know exactly which angle to take to groom the child to get what they want as quickly as possible. They want to know how to get the child to trust them.
Yes.
So they will ask thousands of questions in a short space of time. And the red flag is, if the child asks them any questions, they will divert the question back to the child, and they won't give out the same information as they have requested from the child. So your child might be playing a game and then somebody will start talking to them. It's a red flag. Teach your children not to engage with people on social media, on online gaming platforms that they haven't met in real life. Don't accept friend requests from people you don't know in real life. It doesn't matter if you only have 10 followers on your social media account. It doesn't matter. Rather be safe than sorry. So when the grooming process starts, the predator or the perpetrator will be so kind and caring, and they do this to isolate the child, to bring division between the child and their loved ones as quickly as possible, in order to exert the control over them. And then as soon as the child trusts them, depending on whether it's a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, they will try to move over from the social media account or the online gaming platform to another communication system like WhatsApp or something similar, because that has end-to-end encryption, protecting them from anything that gets sent.
Yeah.
And then they start requesting photos from the children, so as they build relationship, and then they will start asking the kids, how was your day? Where did you go to? And as the child shares information, they then send photos of where they were with their friends at the movies or at school. And so in a short space of time, the perpetrators will know exactly where the child lives, who their parents are, when they are at school, when they are at home, gaining all of this information, and then they'll ask for photos. So the photos will start off innocent, and gradually it progresses to becoming, partially nude, maybe in their swimwear, then in their underwear, and then eventually fully nude photos. And the problem is, because the prefrontal cortex in a child is not fully developed until the age of 25, they don't necessarily discern what is happening ahead of time.
Yeah.
And children think that whatever they see online is true.
Yes.
I mean, we've heard about these applications where they use AI to manipulate photos, and then they end up with sextortion. And just give us a bit more information.
Sextortion is the manipulation by using sexual images. For instance, I will manipulate or threaten you or blackmail you, saying, if you don't send this to me, I will send a naked picture to your parents. So that is sextortion.
So they either use the pictures then that they receive from the victim, or they use AI apps and take, say for instance, a picture that your child has posted on social media, which is an innocent picture. They will take their face and place it onto these apps where sex videos is being shown, and then replace the face with your child's face. So with these AI apps, it is done so professionally that you can't see that it's fake.
Yeah, and then they use that material to manipulate and threaten your children or blackmail. Because if they build a relationship with you, they know everything about you online now, then they can use this to get more information or get more material.
Yes, and the thing
child.
is, now the child has been isolated from his or her friends and family and loved ones. And now they are scared because first off, they trust this predator. When they see the true colors, they've already been isolated. Their behaviors will start to change because now the predator will become aggressive and demanding and say, well, you sent me this photo, so if you don't send me more photos, like you said, I'm going to send this to everybody in your school or your family group. And the child gets so scared and they think that if I just give them what they want, they'll leave me alone. And this doesn't happen because the material that is requested from the child just becomes more intense and more vulgar.
Yes.
And the predator, the trafficker, makes a lot of money with the material that he receives from a child because it gets sold on the dark web, on pedophile sites, on porn sites, and the profit that they end up making from one victim is more that we can imagine. So I really want to plead with parents to please know what is going on your child's phone. Children have this idea that parents, we are old, we don't know what's going on, so we won't know of any better in any case. We first have to figure out the app. So they basically laugh it off. But the thing is, they are at risk. They can be trafficked from their home. And the thing is, once the photos or the nude photos or videos are on the dark web or on the internet, it can't be taken down. It can't be deleted. So even if you spend hundreds of thousands of rands on legal fees, it's not going to help. So rather spend time, see what's happening on your child's phone, have an open relationship with your child so that they understand the dangers and the realities of human trafficking, that you can be exploited and groomed online even though you're not physically abducted or taken by somebody. So if you don't know the person, don't accept their friend request, no matter what the picture looks like. Even if you have spoken to somebody and you think that they are real, if you suspect at any stage that something is not right and you feel uncomfortable, teach your child to block them. Block the person, whether it's on social media, whether it's on WhatsApp, on their phone. Teach them not to take video calls from somebody that they don't know, and just block and delete. If they are on social media, teach them to change their settings on social media so that it's private, so that only their real friends that they have physically met in real life can see what they are posting on their social media account. It's also important to know that your child needs safety measures on their phone to make sure that pornography cannot filter through on the phone. These days, it is too easy to access pornography. And the thing is, it has become normalized that it's okay, everybody is watching porn. But it's not. Porn, it's classified as the same type of addiction as what it is when you are addicted to cocaine. It's just as hard to be set free from the addiction of porn than it is when using cocaine. So if grown men battle to break free from the addiction of pornography, how do we expect children to be set free? If they start watching from the age of 10 and onwards, and sometimes earlier as well, by the time they are 18, that is such a big stronghold in their life. How on earth are they going to be set free?
Apart from that, actually brain damage.
Exactly.
If you look at images, brain images from children or person addicted pornography and the one who's not, there's damage on the brain, the development of the brain
is impacted severely.
Yes.
So we need to start seeing the dangers and the realities of this and not look the other way because we are too busy with our own lives. The other thing as well is that the behavior of the child changes.
Yes.
And there might be behavioral patterns of depression starting to kick in. So look out for behavior changes in your child to see if something is not right, and then act upon it. Don't just think it's going to sort itself out and go away, because it doesn't. It progresses. It might start off with pornography. The thing is, if your child is addicted to pornography, it starts off by just watching, but eventually they're going to want to act out what they see.
Yeah.
We need to be on top of this to make sure, because otherwise more pregnancies are going to occur.
Yes.
And more abortions
Yes.
are going to happen, because they are teaching the kids in school that it's okay to have an abortion,
Yeah.
to just sort out the problem. So there are applications on the phone that you have on your phone as a parent that you can have on your child's phone. And then like Family Link, for instance, we used that previously with our children. But unfortunately, if you have a Chinese phone like Huawei, with the upgrades that gets done on the phone, certain search function pops up for the internet that bypass the Family Link. So pornography could come through on the phone as well, and it just escalates from there. So be careful. Even if you think you are safe in your house because you have passwords and everything on there, it happened in our house and we had passwords. We thought we had everything protected and covered, and still, because of this update that was done on the phone, it bypassed Family Link, and you couldn't even pick up on Family Link that pornography was coming through on the phone. It was after 3 months that we just realized something is not right. The behavior is different, and the law just exposed it in time, because in that time, dating websites were accessed and chat rooms were accessed, and Nigerian men were starting to contact my child via WhatsApp, and it was so quickly, and they were starting the grooming process on WhatsApp. And if we had not picked it up, where would it have ended? Potentially. And I mean, it is not that we didn't speak to our children about this. They know the dangers. They know everything. And still, it happened.
Yeah.
So we need to be alert as parents and not just take it for granted. Another application that we now combined with Family Link is Bark.
Yeah.
And I know you have to pay a premium or pay a monthly fee for this, but you can't put a price on your child's safety. So I think monthly it is something like 250 Rand. And then you can add all your children to that account and monitor it. And I must say, I've been using it for a while now, and it does send you alerts. So you can see a portion of your child's message that has been communicated with your child and the other person, and you can see, is this dangerous or is it not? Do I need to speak to my child or don't I? So for me, it is a very good application to have. And I mean, if you want to try other apps as well, you're more than welcome, but just do your research and have something on the phone. Rather be safe than sorry. You can also, with the Bark, load the application on or link your computers at home as well. So anywhere where your child has internet access, you can link it on there. And by doing that, you just sort of secure your child from getting onto unwanted sites that will take a very long time to free them from. What are some of the other...
Custodia is one that you can use. It's very
Is that
good.
for the phone or the computer?
That's for the phone. Custodia is spelled Q-U-O-S, Studio, like studio. So Custodio, it's also very good. You download it on both phones and you can exactly see what the person is doing, like what websites or apps are opening up. Another one is Springer, which is also a very good app you can download and help you with the software.
Is that now for your phone or the
for
computer?
the phone as well?
Okay.
Yeah. Those are parental control apps.
I think parents should just do research to see what filtering softwares they can download, if it is for free or whether it has a small price attached to it. Rather do that to block these pornography content that comes up, because sometimes you'll just be working on the computer and you might click on X or something unknowingly, because they are so clever in the way where they open up this pornography content on. You might want to click on something and then it takes you to another place, and then all of a sudden your whole screen is just in full-blown pornography. So we can't be too careful with that. And then if we look at the Dirty Dozen list, this is a list that gets updated annually.
Yes.
That shows people what are the most dangerous applications.
Well, I won't say the most dangerous. Those are the applications or organizations, for instance, that do not have the proper software in place to protect children. So, for instance, Apple, the software that they write for their devices do not have software that is child protected. So we have that in Apple, Cash App, Discord, that game the children are playing, LinkedIn, where you can find a job. Meta has got a lot of different apps underneath it. GitHub, Reddit, Roadblocks, Spotify, Telegram, and Snapchat are currently on the Dirty Dozen list. So the Dirty Dozen list is a list that is compiled by the Sexual Exploitation organization in America, where they actually accuse these people of not protecting children, not having the right things in place for children's protection. And they are the ones who managed to get applications like Netflix and TikTok to actually
put more controls in place.
More control in place, to write software that is child friendly and protects children at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think once again we just need to do a bit of research to upskill ourselves and to see how vindictive the sexual industry is in wanting to lure kids into the sex trade.
Yeah.
Some of the different ways that people can get involved at A21 if they want to make a difference is to go onto the website of A21, which is a21.org, and then upskill yourself with some of the free tutorials available about human trafficking, the signs and all of that. Once you've learned something there, and there's quite a bit of information that you can make use of there, go and share it with your friends and family. And then join A21 on social media. Whenever they post anything, share those posts with other people you know to get the word out there. There's also a walk that A21 does every year. It is October,
yeah. Annually, it's a worldwide campaign, a walk for freedom, we call it, and it's an awareness campaign to bring awareness for human trafficking. So I think this year there were over 50 countries worldwide where people
that were involved.
Yeah,
wow.
That were involved. Where people walk, a silent walk, wearing black, just to bring awareness of what the people that are in trafficking actually going through, to just bring the message out there of it is happening and we should do something to fight against it.
So once again, go onto the website and see if your town has a walk that they take part in, or if you feel led by God, go and host your own walk. You don't have to be a full-time volunteer at A21 to do that. And just start off with bringing awareness in your own town, or join a walk in a town near you. So look out for that date. And you can also become a volunteer at A21 and start bringing awareness in the area that you are in. I know A21, with the awareness side, they have quite a bit of programs available. Just give us a bit more information on that, please.
Well, that's just the awareness or prevention trainings that they do have. So they have a program written for early childhood prevention program or early childhood development phase, then primary and high school, and professional workers or just your students. So it's different programs written for specific ages and age groups that teaches them about safe strangers, safe and unsafe touch. That's for the pre-primary ones. Safe secrets, and then the older children about safety, online safety, and the older children again about how they can protect themselves when it comes to false job opportunities or relationships, how relationships should be safe and how they can see the red lights within relationships. So there's different programs for different ages, and you can invite the A21 A team closest to you who can do these trainings in your school, at your church, wherever you are, primary school, Bible clubs, and we can do a short training.
And even frontline professionals, like you said, so that if you are a judge, a lawyer in the medical industry, you are actually not excluded as a professional to know the truth so that at least you can just recognize the signs of a victim.
Yes.
And I think if judges are more upskilled as well, more prosecutions will take place.
Yes.
So I think it's time we stand up and we just be the voice for those victims of human trafficking that are tortured every second of every day, seeing no way out. They are standing hopeless, just waiting for somebody that will make a difference. Something that just really touched my heart is the story of Christine Kane, who's the founder of A21. That when she told the story of how A21 started, she said that she started with the first safe house, and when she met the first victim that were rescued from human trafficking, the victim turned to her, looked at her and said, "Why did it take you so long?" It took her breath away, because we think that we'll get involved next year. We're just so busy this year, or I don't know enough. I don't have enough skills. It's the enemy that lies to us, because we can make a difference, even if it's just telling somebody else about human trafficking or about A21, or just inviting A21 to give training at a school. That's a way that you can become part. And then to pray.
Yes, for sure.
Because there's such a big need for safe houses just in South Africa. And then I'm not even mentioning Africa. We need more safe houses. We need more people involved in the rehabilitation process of these victims that are being rescued from human trafficking. So if you don't know what to do, pray. Pray and intercede that God will just release the right people in the right places so that the network will become stronger to support these victims that have been rescued from human trafficking. So don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow might be too late to save a victim of human trafficking. Karen, I want to thank you for being here today. And I just want to leave our listeners with this scripture. And it's also a scripture that relates to the victims of human trafficking, to bring us hope that not one tear goes unnoticed before God. In Revelation 21 verse 4 it says, "He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more. For the former things have passed away." And it's something to hold on to, that He hears their cries, He hears their tears, and He will find a willing person to make a difference and to see the victim so that they can be rescued.
Definitely.
So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to having you again at some point so that we can further delve into human trafficking, because I think we've just reached the tip of the iceberg.
It's very true. Thank you very much.